March has been a month of new releases, and honestly, I just want to sit and read them all. So that is exactly what we're going to do. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Georgia. I hope you're well. March is such a good month for releases. We are only halfway through and 3 of the books on my 26 and 2026 have come out in the last 3 Tuesdays. So we're going to read them. We're just going to sit and we're going to read these books. So I have 3 books here. I obviously know what the 3 books are. They are my pre-orders. And I am sat filming this now, mid-March, and we still have Starside, The Night We Met and Game On to come out this month. Like, it is such a good month for new releases. It is crazy. There are 2 books in here that I am specifically like, I need to get these read now because they're basically like continuing series that I am in the middle of. And then another one that I have just been so intrigued by from the minute I saw it. I've just wanted to get my hands on this one and get it read, so I pre-ordered it forever ago and I am so excited. And all 3 books are also on my 26 and 2026, so like, what better way to be getting through all of my lists than to just jump straight into these 3 books. So the first one I have is And Now Back to You by B.K. Borison. This is book 2 in the Heartstrings series. I am so excited to get into this. My wonderful friend Faye actually bought me this one because it's got the beautiful sprayed edges. And thank you again, Faye. I am so excited about this one. This is following Jackson and Delilah, which are, we've met Jackson already. I don't think we've met Delilah yet, but I am so excited for this. I absolutely love B.K. Borison's writing, and I do think this will be the one we jump into first. But let's just open the other 2 while we're here. I'm actually on a book buying ban at the moment, so whenever a pre-order arrives, I get so excited. I feel like you can never get the full tab anymore. So the other one in the sort of like continuing realm is In Her Own League by Liz Tomfordy. I know this one is technically a standalone, but let's be honest, it's part of the Windy City series. This is Monty's book. Now, for anybody that knows me, they know that one of my favourite books in the Windy City series is Caught Up, and it's that book where we meet Monty, and this is Emmett Montgomery's book. Can we take a moment? I am beyond excited for this. We've seen sort of like sprinklings of this relationship through sort of like the end of Caught Up and through Play Along, and I am so excited. So this is the coach of the baseball team that we follow in books 3 and 4 in that series, and also the new sort of like owner of the team, and I am so excited. I'm genuinely so excited. Reese Remington is in her sort of like hot girl, boss girl era, and I'm so here for it. And then Monty is just a babe. He's just a babe. He sort of like gave up on his love and relationships and things when he decided to raise his sort of like ex-partner's daughter, and it's just such a lovely situation. So we're finally going to see them get their moment, and I'm like, I am so sad but so excited to get into this one because it's going to be finishing off a series that I absolutely love, and I don't think we're going to get another dip into Windy City after this. So this is actually going to be it for that series, which breaks my heart, but I also think it's just going to be such a nice wrap to that series as well. So I am so excited for this one as well. And then the book that I have just been so excited for since I saw it is Blood and Roses by Callie Hart. I have never read anything by Callie Hart, but this is sort of like a mafia romance situation. I am so excited about it. I love a mafia romance anyway. I don't actually know if this is technically mafia or not. I don't know if it's just sort of like the drug underworld, whatever you want to call it. It's just going to scratch an itch that I've had for so long, and I'm really excited to jump into this one. Also, the design, I didn't even notice that, but it's like a skull behind it and it looks so good. I'm so excited about this one. And we also have like the really nice end page art. Okay, don't see that very often in a paperback. I am intrigued I am. This is what we're gonna do. We're just gonna jump into 3 new releases that I am beyond excited about, and I cannot wait. I feel like I'm just gonna inhale all 3 of these, and I honestly I'm delighted about it. I'm delighted. So I'm going to start rabbiting on, and we're first going to jump into And Now Back to You by B.K. Borison. So I'll just quickly read you the back then. Jackson Clark likes life neat, predictable, and viewed from the comfort of his radio booth. Delilah Stewart prefers her life spontaneous, wild, and out in the field in the eye of the storm. For years the 2 have clashed like thunder and lightning, until they're paired up against their will to cover the snowstorm of the century. Eager to be taken seriously as a journalist, Delilah offers Jackson a deal. If he can help her ace this assignment, she'll help him recover his long-lost fun side. But when other feelings start to enter the equation, can Jackson and Delilah withstand the storm? Or does what happened in the mountains stay in the mountains? I am so excited about this, you don't even understand. I've been waiting for this book for ages. And do you know what? B.K. Borison has now actually announced that there is going to be a 3rd book in this series, and I cannot wait. I love this series so much. I love B.K. Borison's writing. I've only read like 2 of her books, and I'm still obsessed. Like, I feel like I need to put on my heartstrings jumper when I read this. I don't have the jumper for this one from Literature Stitches yet, but I live in my Literature Stitches merch, as you know, so I will probably get my hands on this one soon, but I feel like I need to read it before I can do that. So first off, let's jump into And Now Back to You by B.K. Barson. Oh shit. Oh damn. So I'm actually currently at a chapter break, but I am on a chapter break in the middle of chapter 18. I have a very fussy cat because I've been outside in the garden all afternoon. And I just needed to come and give you guys a bit of an update. So we've just had a very pivotal moment in their sort of doing. For a bit of context then, let me just get this very fussy cat and give her some cuddles because she's just going to claw at me otherwise. So we're following our main two characters, Delilah and Jackson. Now Delilah is she's one of like the news presenters, and then we have Jackson, who's the weatherman on the radio. They're basically having to team up to cover this like big weather event. There's this big blizzard coming and they are having to work together to broadcast this. So they're both being basically put to work together to cover this like big storm. I'm sorry if you can hear people in the garden. I waited and he's continued again. He's clearly back off his lunch break. So they're having to work together to cover this storm, and they're basically having to go and stay at this like lodge, and her boss is basically just this massive arsehole and had booked her somewhere completely different. So they've basically ended up having to share a hotel room, and we're following this sort of like forced proximity sort of situation. Jackson has a lot of sort of like anxiety and performing like on like stage fright sort of thing. There's been a lot of sort of building of their relationship and of their sort of like forced proximity situation, and we've just got to a very cute moment, and I was so happy, and I was like giggling and kicking my feet, and it's took a turn. It's just kind of sent this whole book spiraling a little bit, but I am enjoying this so much. It's just such a sweet read. I really love B.K. Barson's writing, and this series has just been such a nice experience. So like the first book I ever read by this author was First Time Caller, so it's really nice to be back into these world and these characters, and Jackson's situation is so heavy, and like Delilah's got her own sort of situation that we haven't really seen very much of yet, but like watching them both struggle with their sort of situations and the mirrors of their experiences is all just so interesting, and I'm really looking forward to like diving more into that as the book goes on, or I'm hoping we do anyway. So I am really enjoying this one, but that bit that's just happened has literally got me like, oh shit, okay. So I'm on, like I said, chapter 18, so I'm about halfway, I'd say, just before halfway. To say it's taken me a while to like get going with this one, I now just don't want to put it down. Like I've been sat in the garden for like 2 hours just reading this book, and now I've got to start editing again, and I'm just like, I don't want to. I want to go to the park and sit in the park instead and carry on reading, because I'm just loving this book so much. It's so fun and so exciting, and I'm just really intrigued to see how this situation gets resolved, because oh dear. So yeah, I'm gonna get back into reading. I'm loving this one. What can I say? I love this series. I love this characters. I love this world. I love this author. I love her writing so much, and she writes about such relatable characters, and I really love that about her writing. So I'm gonna do some editing and then we will sit down and actually continue on with this book, but I am absolutely loving it. I am back with some very exciting little updates for you guys. The first being I have put the blue back. The blue is officially back in my hair. I feel like you guys were a bit concerned that the blue was going. The blue was never going to leave, it was just fading. But the blue's back, and I feel like a completely different person with the blue back in my hair. I feel so much better. But on top of that, I have more updates. I have finished this book, and we have had a 5-star. I absolutely devoured this. This book was so much fun. So the last time I spoke to you guys, I think, was on Thursday. On Saturday, when we had some more surprisingly good weather in the UK, I literally sat in the garden and smashed out the rest of this book. Like, I'm talking a good 50% of this book in one sitting. It is such a good time. I absolutely love this. I feel like in the last check-in I told you quite a lot about what this book was about, so I'm not going to jump into all of that stuff again. If you haven't read the series, if you haven't picked up these books yet, please go and get them. They are literally £5 each from the work. There's a First Time Caller, which is up here, and then there is a Now Back to You, and they are just so much fun. They are so much fun. We're following them in the storm. It's forced proximity, it's one bed, it's such a fun setup. Watching them navigate like their separate anxieties but together is honestly just so lovely. Like Jackson and his stage fright and how she helps him overcome that, and then Delilah and her just sort of like anxieties and her like masks and her trying to push through all this awful stuff that's going on in her life and her work, and watching her sort of like take charge of that again was just so lovely to see, and seeing how their people sort of banded together to make that come true was just so lovely as well. Like how both of their worlds collide and watching them sort of navigate this new reality, coming back from it being just the two of them in like up in the mountains where all the snow was and stuff, just seeing them sort of navigate that back together was just lovely, and I'm just obsessed. I think I said it before, but I'm gonna say it again, like the relatability in these books is just incredible. They're not big like hockey stars, they're not big famous people, they're just your day-to-day people, and I just love it. Like they're so relatable, their experiences are so relatable, and like I feel like these books can definitely help a lot of people sort of feel seen. We obviously had Lucy being the single mom in the first book, and Aiden just being sort of this guy that's just sort of done with love, and following this one we've just got a radio presenter and a news presenter, and like just their day-to-day problems and their day-to-day lives and everything, all the weight on their shoulders. I feel like these books could help a lot of people really feel seen, and I love it. I just love this one. The banter, like emotions, the side characters, just everybody. I love it. I love this series so much. I genuinely can't recommend it enough. They have both been 5 stars for me, and they're literally a 5 for each of the books, so please just go and get your hands on these books. I actually beg of you, go and get them. Also, whilst out in the garden, because the sun was still out and I wasn't quite ready to go in yet, I then also picked up In Her Own League by Liz Tomfordy. This is a Windy City series spin-off, so we have the Windy City series up here. It's a sport romance, and this is basically like a bit of a side story, so I wouldn't recommend reading this without having read the Windy City series, because there's so many character drop-ins in this book that I'll talk about in a second. This is very heavily part of the series, in my eyes anyway. I am only actually 11 chapters in, so I read literally the first chapter while I was outside, and then I read the rest this morning because I'm really enjoying this one, so I jumped straight back into it again. So this one is following our main female characters from book 3's dad, and he is the coach of the baseball team that we follow in books 3 and 4 of the Windy City series, and then we're also following our main female character Reese, who is the new owner of that baseball team. It's sort of that workplace romance. It's set on slightly sort of like older characters as well, so like our main male character Monty, he's set as like mid-40s, which I don't feel like I read a lot of, and then we've got Reese, who I think they say is about 10 years younger than him, so mid-30s, and we're following this sort of like new relationship and following Reese as she's sort of navigating this man's world. I'm pretty sure at this point she is the only female like team owner, so she's sort of paving the way for all these new young girls that love the sport and can't really get their foot in the door. It explains in a lot of detail about how like girls just aren't part of this world at all, and like all the teams will hire that one female staff member just to sort of tick the box so that they don't get into trouble for discriminating and things like that. And then this team here, it used to be her grandfather that owned the team, and he has stepped back, and she has basically been like preparing her whole life to take over this team. She has definitely earned her place. She knows everything inside and out, and she's coming in to try and make this team better and to sort of fix the mistakes that her granddad's sort of been making whilst getting ready to retire, and in doing that she's obviously pissing off a lot of people. So like watching her come in and try and fix everything and get all the pushback and just the day-to-day issues that she faces from fans, from colleagues, from players, watching her navigate that is so much fun and so brutal as well. Like you don't even think about the amount of backlash that she'd get, And then we're also following Monty, our main male character, who he's been working very closely alongside her grandfather for a long time, and how he run things. It's obviously a big change for him, but he also really wants to see her succeed because he's raised a daughter. He wants to help pave the way for women to have more opportunities in this sort of field, and I just love it. I love it, I love it, I love it. So there's a lot of banter, there's a lot of sort of like pushback, and them not being friends and being friends and not being friends and being friends, having lots of disagreements and trying to figure out how they're going to make this new working relationship work. And I'm just loving it. I'm loving it so much so far. So like I say, I'm only on chapter 11, so it's page 102, but I'm just having such a fun time. I'm loving being back in this world. I didn't realise how much I was missing the Windy City series. The Windy City series was my first sort of like big sport romance, and it's really making me want to reread it because I just love the characters so much, and we see a lot of those characters in this. Like I say, Monty is the father of one of the main characters. He's also the coach for the baseball team, so like we see a lot of those characters again. We're seeing a lot of Miller, we're seeing a lot of Max, we're seeing a lot of Kai, we've seen a few dip-ins of like Isaiah and Kennedy, and I'm just absolutely loving being back in this world with these characters again. I feel like this is going to be our final sort of dip into this, so it's kind of breaking my heart and I'm not really ready. I feel like when I was reading Rewind It Back, I was really struggling to sort of accept that this was going to be our last sort of dip in. So then when I found out that we were getting this one, I was so excited to have that other opportunity, but now I'm having that same experience all over again where like I really want to read this and find out what happens, but equally I don't want it to be done. So like I say, I am only like a fifth of the way in, so I feel like I'm already dragging this out because I just don't want to be done with these characters. I love it so much. But I'm going to jump straight back into it. I feel like this has the potential for another 5-star. The Windy City series is a 5-star series for me, and I absolutely love Monty anyway, so I'm really hoping to love this book as much as I think I'm going to and as much as I am so far. So all in all, a very, very good start to this video. I mean, we've already had one 5-star and the potential for another. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Let's go and continue reading. I feel like you guys are getting a lot of me at my worst, but that's because these videos, I'm literally reading these books after work and things, and then when these big updates happen, I just need to tell you immediately, and I don't really want to put makeup on for the sake of like a 5-minute clip. So we move on. I'm here with a very big update on In Her Own League by Liz Tomforde. Obviously, I haven't given you guys much of check-ins or anything like that, but I have just been audioing this on my way home from work, and I've just finished it, and I am obsessed, and I wanted to just give you guys an update as quick as possible while it's all like fresh in my mind. This is a 6-star read. This is my first 6-star read of 2026. I am obsessed with this book. I don't know what Liz Tomforde puts in these books, but I am just... If you want a man that is obsessed, Liz Tomforde. Like, genuinely. These characters are so unbelievably obsessed and down bad, and I just absolutely love it. There's just something about her main characters that are just something else. I love this. The way he just supports her, helps her get what she needs without overstepping or overpowering. She's in this world of like men high up in sport as the only female in that position, and like the shit that she gets and she receives, and like how he will always stand by her and protect her and stand up for her without overstepping, and I just love it. And like the spicy scenes in this book are incredible. The gym scene, the office scene, like this book is just something else. If you don't think you're into sport romance, you just haven't read the right sport romance. Just read a Liz Tomforde book, and don't just base your opinion on it based off Mile High. I didn't love Mile High. I enjoyed it. It was really good. I think I rated it like 4 stars, but the rest of this series has been 5 stars for me. The series overall, I'm classing as a 5-star series. Like, I am genuinely obsessed with this series and these characters and the found family and how they are all connected and how they're just incredible. They're just incredible. 6 stars. Please, please, please. Just read the series. Just please read the series. I'm obsessed. I'm absolutely obsessed. So we're rating it 5 stars obviously on like Goodreads and stuff, but this is a 6-star book. This is my favourite book so far this year. I'm just gonna go ahead and say that. So now that we've finished rambling on about In Her Own League, again, please go and read it, we now have to pick another book, and the next new release that I'm going to jump into is Blood and Roses by Callie Hart. This, I think, is sort of like a mafia or like criminal underground sort of situation. I love a mafia book and I love that sort of setup anyway, so I'm really hoping that I enjoy this. Obviously, we've had 2 5 stars so far this video, and I'm really hoping that we can go for 3 out of 3. Like, imagine. I feel like this is just something they're putting in all these new books that are just hitting so much harder. So, just to quickly read the back then. What happens in the dark never stays in the dark. As one of Seattle's most dangerous and feared men, Zeth Mayfair always carried out the jobs he was sent on without a second thought. Drugs, guns, dirty money, all fair game. But even his warped moral code has its limits. When Zeth's employer decides buying and selling kidnapped women is a lucrative sideline, Zeth's usual uncomplicated life suddenly becomes very complicated indeed. And his biggest complication goes by the name of Sloane Romera. Sloane desperately needs to find her sister, and she knows she can't do it alone. Zeth is terrifying, scandalous, hot, and comes fully loaded with a terrible attitude and a wicked smile, but also looks like he's Sloane's only hope. Can she work with the guy without getting herself killed, lose her job, or falling head over heels in love? I am so excited. I have never read anything by Callie Hart, so I'm really intrigued to see what I think about this. Faye has just finished reading this book. She was reading this last week and she's absolutely loved it. She's really enjoyed it and thinks I'd really like it. So I'm really hoping that we can continue on this good streak of like really good books. So next up, we are going to jump straight into this one. I am very excited. I am slightly terrified. And this one is also on Kindle Unlimited. I think all 3 of these books so far are on Kindle Unlimited or on KU. So if you're a KU user, you can get a hold of all 3 of these, and I recommend that you do. I'm going to go get comfy on the sofa, and we are going to jump straight into Blood and Roses by Callie Hart. Let's go. So I'm about halfway through this book and I just wanted to come and give you guys a bit of an update. So I am enjoying this one so far. It's definitely a bit different from the stuff I've been reading recently. It's a really interesting setup. So we're following our main character Sloane. Now Sloane is a doctor doing like her residency at the minute. She's a trauma surgeon. She's actually trying to figure out what happened to her sister. So her sister just sort of went missing and she's not heard anything from her since. It's been quite a while and she's basically trying to just uncover what had happened. So the case kind of gone cold, like the police have basically said until new leads come there's not really much that they can do, and she's determined to try and figure this out on her own. In doing that, she has to do something that she's not proud of and basically gets caught up in this criminal underworld, and that's where she meets our main male character Zeth. So Zeth basically ends up being with her whilst trying to protect her in this one night stand sort of situation. Then following that, they sort of go their separate ways. They sort of end up reconnecting again when something happens to one of Zeth's friends, and we're sort of following the aftermath of that. I can't really say much more without giving you guys really big spoilers, but that's sort of the setup that we've got for this. It's super spicy and the spice that we do have is really good, but I am enjoying it so far. The spice is really fun. The sort of directions that we're taking are really interesting and are definitely keeping me hooked. It's not giving me 5-star feels, but I am still having a really fun time and I'm still really enjoying the sort of setup and the story that we've got going on at the moment. I can't tell you much because it's all just sort of spoiler based, so I'm not going to say much more than that, but the one thing I will say, all the chapters in this are like less than 10 pages long, which is just perfect to me. I really like short chapters. I feel like I'm reading a lot quicker, and then I also feel like you do that thing a lot more often of like, oh, I'll just read one more, and then you get hooked into reading like 10 more chapters because you're just reading one more and just reading one more, and some of the chapters are literally like 2 pages long, 3 pages long, and some are like 7. But like they're all so short and so snappy, and I love that. I love a short chapter book, so I'm having a really fun time with this one. I feel like I'm getting through it really quickly, so I will see you guys probably when I have finished this one. So let's go. here to give you my final thoughts and feelings on Blood and Roses by Callie Hart. I enjoyed this one. I did enjoy this one. I literally finished it like 10 minutes ago, so I'm still sort of getting my head around my final thoughts on this, but I just thought I could voice them with you guys instead. So I am sticking with what I said the other day of this not being a 5-star read. I have had a really, really fun time, but it just hasn't given me that same 5-star feelings that the first 2 books in this video have given me. So I still enjoyed it. I still really like it. I love sort of like a mafia setup. I feel like those books are always so packed with drama and events that they just really keep me hooked in. The short chapters also really help with that. You feel like you're flying through the book. It's literally took me 3 days to read it. I've just been like, oh yeah, I'll just read another chapter, and then all of a sudden you've finished the book, and I love that. That's why I love a short chapter book. We're following Sloane and Zeth. Sloane is the doctor. Zeth is part of this criminal underworld. He's definitely not a good guy, but equally I feel like he's one of those morally grey characters that you can't help but love, because as much as he's morally grey, he's also got this really good habit of doing the right thing. I love it. I love that setup. The spice in this is incredible. We have something in here that I've not really read much of before, and I thought that was quite interesting and quite fun in terms of like the spice level and things. I also just love a book where the third act conflict isn't to do with the relationship between the 2 main characters. So like in this, there is so much going on alongside them sort of getting to know each other and being together, and like, they're technically not even in a relationship by the end of this book, but like I really enjoy when the third act conflict isn't just some petty misunderstanding or it's something external to their relationship, and which is what this book has. So through this book we're following Sloane as she's trying to figure out what happened to her sister and trying to sort of solve her sister's disappearance, and all the way through this we're sort of setting into one direction, and it does take quite a lot of twists and turns, and I really enjoyed that element of it. I do feel this book does sort of finish on a bit of a cliffhanger, which sort of caught me off guard. I thought it was going to get wrapped up quite nicely, but we're sort of left at the end of this book with a lot of questions, and we've got to wait till 2027 to get the answers, which I'm not very happy about, but here we are. We do have a lot of unanswered questions, which drives me insane, but that's okay. It just means that the second this comes out in 2027 I will be seated and I will be reading it because I have questions. All in all, I have really enjoyed this one. I think I'm going to settle on a 4-star, my default. I know, I just feel like a 4-star sits well for this. I have had a good time. I think it's been fun. It's definitely kept me hooked. I've been wanting to like cancel plans to read it, which is a sign of a good book, but then again I'm just also not very sociable, so is it? Who knows? But all in all, a fun time. I do recommend it. Check your trigger warnings, but this is definitely an interesting one, and one that's very fast paced, and like I didn't find myself getting bored during this one at all. There's just so much going on that you physically don't have the chance to get bored. So yeah, all in all, a good little read. This has been a very successful little reading vlog, hasn't it? There's something that they're putting in these new releases that's just hitting right. It's just hitting right. We've had a 5, a 6 and a 4. So all in all, a very good solid video. I'm loving these new releases, and it's really making me want to just like continue to read all my newest books, which just means all of my older books are just sitting there like, hello, what about me? And I'm like, no, I'll stick to my new ones, thank you. That is everything for today's video then. If you guys have enjoyed this one, then don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And as always, my social media, my Amazon, my Goodreads and my business email are all in the description bar below. If you've read any of these 3 books, let me know what you thought of them in the comments. I always love to hear your guys' opinions. Or if you've got any book recommendations and books that you think I'd enjoy, then also leave them in the comments below for me. Thank you so much for being here. I really hope you guys are well, and I will see you hopefully in the next one. Take care.